Good morning, everybody. Oh my goodness. It is early. Well, it feels early. Why does it always feel early? Anyway, just messing with my lights and my camera, trying to get that all squared away. So, there, okay. I'm on a couple minutes early, and so I just wanted to chat a little. How'd everybody weather the storm last night? We just got lots of wind and rain. We're in the zone this afternoon for, golf ball, tennis ball, up to baseball sized hail. That's fun. Last time we had hail, it took us a year to repair our house because we had to have a new roof and new siding and new gutters and new windows, and oh my gosh, it was crazy. That kind of hail is so damaging. And so, yeah, I'm not looking forward to this afternoon with that. I hope it misses us all together. My daughter snuck out and got me a coffee this morning. She works the night shift, and so sometimes when she wakes up in the morning, she runs and gets me a surprise, and that was today's surprise. She got me a mocha. Yum, yum, yum. Steve surprised me this week too. This right here is a box of Cougar envelopes. They're the Cougar, they match the Cougar white paper. Very nice. And they had a box of them at work. And you have to understand, a box of them where he works is like 5 of these. And each of these boxes holds like 250 envelopes. And so I have over 1,000 white envelopes now, which I love having because, I can go through those pretty quick because I send those to JJ, but I think this month I'm going to include a few envelopes with everybody's order. So if you order from me, you will get my goodie that I like to send, and I'm going to stuff a few envelopes in there so that you'll have some free envelopes too, because it's really nice to have white envelopes hanging around, right? Anyway, so with that, I should probably get started. I feel sorry for people who watch me on a replay and don't want to listen to me jabber. So, today, okay, I know, I said I wasn't going to get all excited over rainbows again, but here I am. It's the rainbows. So one of the sweets that Stampin' Up! Has is this Boho Vibes sweet. And I went ahead and bought the sweet because there was so much of it that drew my eye. I loved it. So I have the paper. You get 48 sheets of 6x6. And if you don't love, first of all, 70s vibes, hello, I love this. And then the backs are just patterns that you can use as backgrounds if you don't like the front grounds. It's like they do 6x6 especially very well. And so I did get this. I am going to be scrapbooking with it, but today I just want to make a card, and I want to make a fun card. And I really love those 70 vibe colors. And so I grabbed out the colors that coordinate with the paper. Sorry, I'm missing one. I used this one, the green. So I used the Cajun Craze. See, I'm testing myself on the colors. Cajun Craze and the Pretty in Pink. And this is Secret Sea. Daffodil Delight, and Mossy Meadow, and that gives you that whole 70 vibes thing. And I did do just a little bit of prep work, but I want to show you what else is in the suite really quick, because I don't think it'll take us too long to make the card. So there's a stamp set called Sunshine Vibes, and it's very simple. It's a very simple, basic stamp set. It's got, you know, like the sun and rays. This could be a shade on the sun or a moon. It's got this little star, asterisk kind of star that could be a flower. It could be just stars. I really like whenever there's little dotted elements. I don't know why they made it such harsh lines. Like, was that supposed to be a flower? Maybe, I don't know. And then these little lines. The best part is I like the font and I like the messages. I like all of the messages except for darling. I will never use the word darling, but all those other ones are perfect. And so I will definitely use all of them. This will be one that sits out the whole year for me because I make a lot of cards with sunshine. If you have watched my reels and stuff, you know I use a lot of sun. Anyway, so the rainbow dies are kind of cool. If you don't have a rainbow set, this is a nice one. Everybody's got a rainbow set. You can get a rainbow set from anywhere. To make this card, just pull out what you got. What I like is that it has the solid size of rainbow. If you cut this one, each individual stripe cuts separately. And so you can put that, you know, inside and you can cut your stripes. And, you know, if you do this one, because it's a solid piece, I would have to cut one in every color, and then I could maneuver the stripes different ways to make multiple rainbows. That's kind of a cool idea. These little green pieces we're going to be using today these little pieces are leafy. Here's some more the little stars, little hearts, and then of course there's decorative pieces of the rainbow. And if you look in the catalog, you'll see they've done some layering and stuff of these decorative pieces onto the solid pieces. It looks really nice. So yep, so I went ahead and got the dies and I got the stamps. And why? I don't know. I just had to have them. I also love the little gems. These are the muted palette dots. And what I like about them is they coordinate with that 70 vibe paper very well. You can see that goes, it matches. I wish it had the blue in there too. Love them all. Or even the Cajun craze. Because one thing I've noticed, I struggle a little bit with see-through gems. I really prefer my gems to be solid. And so these are solid. And so I bought 2 packages. Yep, I did it. Okay, so today I did cut a few things ahead, but not everything. I'm going to use the sun, of course. I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight ink. I also grabbed Secret Sea ink to make my message. And I wanted to show you, I have a lot of ink pads. If I showed you the number of ink pads that I have, you would gasp. You would probably gasp in horror. I have so many. And so I'm trying not to buy all of the Stampin' Up! Large ink pads. I have trouble opening them with my weird tendonitis stuff going on. And so it's easier for me to get the magnetic pads. And so I'm trying to make do with the cubes. I do have a few of the Stampin' Up! Inks, but they're just harder for me to use, okay? They just are. So I have a blending brush, because we're going to do just a tiny bit of blending. So we're going to do that. I went ahead and stamped my Sending Good Vibes in that Secret Sea ink, and I wanted you to see that color. It's a really, really rich, dark blue. I would say it's a very deep navy. That's how I would describe it. We're definitely going to use that. And then I cut 2 panels of the rainbows, and then I cut a bunch of like bits and parts, stripes and things, hearts and leaves, and so we're going to use that in just a minute. So I'm going to set that aside, and let's start with the sun. This is just a scrap piece that I have, and I want a half sun with a full ray. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And this ray, I've been messing around with it a little bit, and I think it could make some really cool other decorations on a page that in different colors, and it wouldn't necessarily look like a sun ray. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. And then I am gonna fussy cut this out. I wish there was a die. I don't know. I'm pretty fast at fussy cutting, and this is not like a perfect thing. Like, I don't have to be perfect cutting it out. I just want it to be kind of wavy looking, and so there you go. Now I have my sun. That's how I did the sun. I'm gonna add that to my tray here. Okay, so the card I'm gonna make today, let me grab my stuff that I need. I want to make a shaker, and these are new. They are the loose shaker elements. They were an online exclusive, and what I like about them is that they've got an iridescent quality. They're not colored, okay? They're not necessarily colorful. Well, some of them are. Let me just pour it out there. Oh, it's hard to see in a bin what that looks like, so I'll make a mess on my desk and I'll show you kind of what that looks like, right? So little tiny confetti bits, some stars, and there's some iridescent little pieces in there that glimmer and shine, so that's cool. That is what I'm using today. This is a 4 1/4 by 11 card, and I've already scored it. I'm gonna fold it in half. Get out my bone folder so I can make this sharp. A crisp fold. Okay, there we go. All right. So what I want to do today is I want to make a shaker, and I want the front of my card to be this flip flap, and the flip flap has an opening where you slide your photo in, and then it has this strip that sticks on, and it can stick onto the front of my card, right? That is my plan, okay? So I really like this idea of making this card front, and so I'm gonna go ahead and get this messy stuff off my table. I'm gonna put some shaker. One thing about these iridescent things is that they're staticky, and if you have a dryer sheet or a powder, like for embossing powder the little anti-static pouch. You could do that on the inside of this. But what I find works better than anything is if you just take anything you're going to make into a shaker, take it to the sink and rinse it out and dry it. And it takes away the static in the plastic. And that really does help. So I'm going to just tap that down to the bottom. I just want to get this shaker part kind of ready. And so I have a spot here, right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and peel this off. And this is staticky too. It's kind of a tricky thing. And then I am just going to kind of roll this down. The idea is I just want it to be in a way where it won't leak. So I just folded that over, and then I'm folding the flip flap so it's nice and crisp. Now you could add more adhesive on it, but what I find is if you really pinch fold that, it stays and you don't get the big bulk of plastic wanting to pop open. It seems like it works pretty well. All right, so there's my shaker, and that'll be the front of my card. Okay, so let's figure out what I need to do to make the front of my card. The main thing is, since I want the front to be the shaker, I don't want the front to have a white top. So let me just clear off my trimmer here. I have like stuff everywhere. I have stuff all over. If you are looking for the flip flaps, I just wanted to show you. They're under the memory keeping, and I want to make that. I really want to make that that cool little mini album that Sarah made in one of her Facebook videos. Man, that was really cool. It's on my list. Anyway, I'm going to trim this, an inch or an inch and a quarter down from the top. And I want to do that. I'm going to do an inch and a half. Okay. So now I've chopped the front of my card off, right? And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to use this piece of paper eventually. I need to get it out of my way. So this is going to go, in here, and it is going to be part of my shaker. Now, if you have tear-in tape, that is the way to adhere to plastic. So I am going to just put a couple of strips on here. And I'm using heavy adhesive because plastic doesn't love adhesive. It can be hard to adhere, right? And then I am going to I want to lay this down in a way where my front lines up here and here. Like I am lining up the front and the side of my card, okay? I'm going to hold it down, and then I'm just going to flip this over and adhere it. And that way I have the card front remade as a clear pocket. Cool, right? Now, what I'm going to do is basically, I'm going to put my rainbow on here like this, and that means I need something at the bottom and something at the top. And so here's what I did. Do any of you have a wavy border style die? You don't have to use a die. You can totally just cut with scissors. Like if you take 2 pieces of scrap cardstock, together and you cut them into shape. I mean, you don't need to have a die, but just for today's video, I'm using a die. Now, I wish a die like this came in the set. Wouldn't that be cool? But I bet you have a die that has like a border set of some sort. So I'm basically going to put this on here, and I need a front and a back because I want to cover up all this nonsense here. I don't want that to show, okay? And so I need two pieces. I'm gonna stack them together. Now this die may very well not be a deep enough die to be able to cut through two pieces of cardstock. It may not, okay? But it'll make an imprint, at least, at minimum, it'll make an imprint into the second piece on there. And then at least my pieces will match. So that's something. The best case scenario would be that it cuts through both. Oh, look, it did. Yay. Okay, I'm a happy girl. Let's see. So now I have two pieces of cardstock that are now stuck together. All right, there we go. That are the same. And when I put them front to back, one of them is going to have to show the back side of my stitch line, but that is okay. It is going to be fine. So, all right. I did this to another piece as well, okay? So I have two pieces that look like clouds, and I just wanted to show you, I just cut into my scraps. I have a lot of scraps here at the table, and what this allows me to do is line this up. I'm going to put this at the bottom, and I only need a 4 1/4 inch section. So I'm gonna use my scissors and cut that excess craziness off. And then try to decide where I want this. I like this just like that. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to cut this at 4 1/4. I'm not totally sure I need a full 4 1/4 because my flip flap, it may overhang just a little, but I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Nope, it's perfect. 4 1/4, look at that. So I'm going to have one on the front, and then when I open it, the tape will show. So let's get that down. Now, this one I'm not going to completely cover in tear and tape. I just want the bottom because I may need to tuck my rainbow into here a little bit. I can always add a little glue dot or something if it sticks up too far. But all right, so here's what I'm doing. Here's the bottom of my card. I am going to put this at the bottom of my card, okay? So I'm gonna glue this down like that. All right, so the front of my card, I have a piece at the bottom, and on the inside, I need to do that again because that is ugly, right? It's gonna show otherwise. You're gonna have all of your adhesive and stuff showing when the person opens the card, and yuck, right? Not pretty. All right, so what I'm doing here now is I'm gonna line this piece up just like that. Oh, get my fingers unstuck. And I'm going to adhere that down. So now I have the front of my card, and when it opens, the inside looks just as nice, right? I got it a little bit off right there. I think I'm gonna trim that just a smidge. That is like barely a hair, but the main thing is I don't want to cut through my flip flap because, oh my God, that would be, all my shaker stuff would come off the bottom. All right, now these top pieces, I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna do them at the top. Now, where do they need to be? I got a hair on there. Okay, if I do it here, it's going to be, you know, I can cut this off at any point. I just need to decide how much room I need. Now it's time to bring in our rainbow. So I cut one for the outside and one for the inside. That's why I cut two. But I want to put my rainbow right here. And I want my top to come down just over. I don't want this over my rainbow, okay? I really would prefer for it to be above it like that. Isn't that neat? All right, so that means if I measure, this was 1.5 inches, this little flap, and it looks like it's gonna hit right at 1.5 inches. So I need these to be cut 1.5 inches from this corner. So I'm gonna put it in my trimmer and cut it at 1 1/2 inches, like right there. And I'm gonna put them both in at the same time. Sorry, I'm doing that off camera. That's why I made that mark. And that way you can see that I have two pieces that are gonna go at the top of my card. Now, you can use any glue for this, but I might as well keep on doing what I'm doing here. And I know I'm not going to be tucking my rainbow in on this one, so I'm going to use two pieces. It's probably overkill, but this way. Now this card right here, it looks fussy, but I don't want this to line up perfectly with the bottom, so I'm going to just, I'm kind of changing up a little bit where my clouds land, so they're not exactly matchy. And then I'm gonna open and see how you can see all that mess in the inside. I am going to do the inside now. Anyway, so this weekend, I don't know what happened in May, but it's like all of a sudden, like everything is happening in May. So it's bridal showers, weddings, graduations, gosh, all these storms are crazy, and it's been a little wild with that. We've had lots and lots of craziness. Okay, been busy, in other words. All right, so this is on the inside of my card, on the inside, and I'm covering up that panel so that you can't, so when the person opens the card, they're not going to see my messy adhesive. All right, now I just need to trim this down, and I could use my trimmer. It might even be smarter to use a trimmer, but there we go. It's not perfect, but it's a Connie card. It's probably not perfect. Okay, so there's that. Now, we just need to decorate. So we are at the point where we can make our rainbow. I'm going to use liquid glue for this because it's faster. And basically, I'm just going to adhere some of the parts and pieces that I cut out. Anyway, there we go. So I started uploading my Facebook Lives to YouTube so that YouTube will store all my videos, so you can go back and see me make a card almost identical to this. Like, I don't know, gosh. Has it been 2 years ago, a year and a half ago? I love, because the rainbow thing, you know, this trend, it comes, it goes. Everybody was into rainbows for a while. And I kind of like that this is a non-traditional rainbow, in that the colors of it are so different. You know, I like that. And so, and it's a little different from my other rainbow sets. Anyway, I've started getting all the little messages from Facebook that, you know, they're deleting my videos a little at a time, which is really annoying. Okay. I definitely want this behind here, but I want it to show. I should have extended that a little more. This will be right in here. And then I'll put my sun in place. I may have to trim it or something. Oh, I can do this, and then I can do the message, and that'll cover up any weird thing that I got going on. So let me put this here. Like that. All right, so to adhere to this plastic again, I'm going to use the tape. So when you look at my Facebook videos on my Facebook group, I'm going to keep going live there as long as Facebook allows us to, for what it's worth. But I may have a link to a YouTube video there that, so if it's ever deleted, you can click on that link and it'll take you to my YouTube page. And that way you can, I don't have to chase them and figure out which ones are going away. I just did it as I upload. So I hope that helps. I know that it's kind of it's a little bit of work, but it's kind of worth it. All right, I am going to put my rainbow right here and stick that down. Look at that, it's so fun. Oh my gosh. This, I think I want popped up a little bit. I don't know, it's gonna show. Whatever I do, it's gonna show, because on the back, I only made a rainbow to cover the back side. I did not make something to cover the back of this. So whatever I do on the front, like if I put my message here, it's gonna show. Oh, it's not terrible though. Although it is gonna show like pop dots or tear and tape or whatever I decide to use. So we'll see. Maybe I'll cut another. Sort of a hassle. Cutting 2 of everything on a clear front is probably a good idea. If you did not want to make this into an actual shaker, you could just use acetate, which, you know, everybody seems to have acetate around. Or if you've got really sturdy plastic, I used to use those bakery boxes, like the clear plastic bakery boxes. Those work really good. You can cut those out. They're super sturdy, and it's a great recycling project. Look at that. That's the inside of my card. Okay. And then I'm going to, I want to add this, but I feel like it needs a little shading or something. I was going to use this also. Do I like that? I kind of like it just plain, but this can go onto that blue stripe. It is really neat looking. I don't know if I want to use it or not. Decisions. I think I need this shaded a little. And if I shade it in yellow, that'll be too... I was going to shade it in yellow, but it's too close to the sun if I put it there. I could, and I do need it there. All right, so colors. I could do pink. I could do... I don't know what I want to do. So right now I am cutting that blue piece of paper down. I want to show you the print really close. It was a 6x6. The other side is a stripe. And of course you could do either side. It's going to show through your card. And to me, that's just a little too much pattern. So I thought the navy, or I think it's Secret Sea actually, looks really nice popping through that window. So while I'm deciding what color I want to shade my message, I'm just gonna add that. And then to write a message in this card, it's pretty easy to put a little tiny white panel or something on the, on the inside, something that will be behind this and it won't show. And then you'll be able to write a message on it. I'm just going to go ahead and I have this cut. It's in my scrap pile. And I'm going to put it a little bit high because I don't want it showing through the bottom of my hole of this rainbow, right? Like that. There. Oh, wasn't that cute? I got it crooked, which is annoying. That's the good thing about liquid glue, is I can pop it loose. All right, I got to decide this. I think red. I think red. Let me grab it. So, I know, I said I don't own any Stampin' Up! Ink pads, not many, that's for sure. But Cajun Craze is one that I do have, and I struggle opening them because of my tendonitis problems ish. But it's getting easier. I found that if I put a little something on these tracks, like somebody recommended chapstick, and so I put chapstick on those tracks, and gosh, that really did help. Wow, that's a bold color. Okay, I got to get some of that off. I don't want it that bold. And then I'm going to go around the edge. Yeah, I don't want it too crazy. Yikes. Yeah, I do like that though. All right. Pull, flip, pinch. Okay. Yeah, I know. All the Stampin' Up! Old, people who have been around forever. I've almost called you old. That's not true. The long-term Stampin' Up! People, they, are probably laughing their heads off at me trying to open and close these crazy ink pads. All right, so I'm just going to use a couple of these dimensionals. They are going to show through my window. At least one of them will. But that does stick well. And see, it shows through right there. But I could always put another circle there if it really bothered me. And I don't want to cover up so much of the window that my shake stuff doesn't show, because the whole purpose of it was to make it a cool shaker. Like I really feel like that might need to be up higher. There we go. I want more shaker stuff showing. All right, last thing is to pick up some hearts, and do some hearts on here. I could do blue. I'm not sure about that. I cut blue, I cut red, and I figured I would just store them with my set because I'll be using this color palette again with this set. Oh, isn't that sweet? I love it so much. Okay. Yeah, I need to glue those down. So that is my shaker card today. And remember, you can always just use acetate and get the same effect. And you can always cut your own clouds because it's not hard to cut clouds, you guys. You're just cutting like this. Bump, 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 you know, and you cut through 2 layers and you got clouds. It's just not that hard. So do it. Oh, I love it. Okay, it needs just a little bit more, just a little more, because my white clouds are so white. So I'm gonna grab my pen and do the squiggle thing. So I'm just gonna draw a line, like to outline, and you don't want it to be perfect because if it's perfect in one way, in one place, it won't be perfect the other place, and then you'll be like, ugh, I screwed it up. Or if you intentionally make it a little wobbly, it'll be perfect. And then I'm just gonna squiggle a few places. I'm truly squiggling like that, okay? It's not like art. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a few little dots. I used to do dots like this all the time. When I made cards, and it started looking a little dated, like it was such a 90s thing to do. But I really like how it looks. And hey, didn't they say granny chic and all of that is coming back? Whatever. I think it looks really good. I really like this card. And it'll open. I can put my message in. I could even put my thing in here. I went to all the trouble to cut these pieces, and it's driving me crazy that I didn't use them. It's like, why did I cut them if I'm not going to use them? So this is perfect. I'll just put it in there. Cool. And it shakes, which is even more fun. You can hear it. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but it's so awesome. You can kind of see the pieces in there shaking around. All right. That's my card today. I hope you love it. I hope you have a great weekend. I've got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. And let's just hope that we don't have hail interrupting all of our plans, right? So, all right. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.